TGIF, Guardians. And believe me, it is not here a moment too soon. What's going on, everybody? My name is The Black Link, bringing you some good old Friday morning fun back again to talk here on YouTube about some things going on in the Destiny community, because we got some pretty interesting news out of the Bungie weekly blog this week. In fact, it actually kind of links up with a video that I recently posted about the state of experience in Destiny, where I spent some time talking about some of the core aspects of the EXP grind in Destiny right now. Basically, the things that you're doing to kind of level yourself up in relation to the Season Pass, the weekly and repeatable bounties that we use to do that, and the fact that Bungie's lack of focus when it comes to seasonal goals sometimes creates a daunting barrier for people who want to play the game. Well, it's almost like Bungie heard everything we talked about, because in this week's issue of the Bungie Weekly blog, This Week at Bungie, we got an entire section describing a new system of seasonal challenges starting in Season 13. And some of these changes involve completely revamping the way we're currently earning EXP, Bright Dust, and the individual goals players have whenever they come to play a new season of Destiny 2. Let's go ahead and dive on into some of the things we learned about yesterday. First up, the Destiny 2 dev team talked specifically about some goals they want to reach with the changes that they're going to be making. These goals are to provide a guide to new, returning, and veteran players for what to do every day and every week in Destiny. They also want to guide the player through seasonal content on a week-over-week basis. They want to encourage players to engage with complexities and nuances of the seasonal activity and rituals. And finally, they want to reduce the penalties on EXP and Bright Dust for missing a given week. So essentially, they want it to be a system where no matter what week you decide to jump into a new season of content in Destiny, let's say you wait a couple of weeks before you jump in, you don't feel like you're left out on content and EXP and you're playing a huge game of catch up with everybody else who's been playing the game. And in order to solve these goals, Bungie is introducing a new pursuit type for players called Seasonal Challenges. The seasonal challenges live on their own page and are accessed through the quest log or the Season Pass and are separated week by week. And then Bungie gives us a quick breakdown on how exactly the Seasonal Challenges feature is going to work. Every week, for the first 10 weeks of a season, between 3 and 10 new challenges will appear automatically for players. Some of the challenges will deal with seasonal content. Others will push players to complete Strikes, Gambit, and the Crucible, or to focus on non-activity focused Destiny rituals such as gaining power, unlocking seasonal artifact mods, or improving guns and armor. These challenges can only be completed once per account, but once they become available, these challenges can be completed at any time before the end of the season, and do not need to be started or picked up from a vendor. As an example, if a player doesn't play for say weeks 2 through 4, they can return on week 5 and have all of those prior challenges available and waiting for them. Completing each challenge will award EXP, contributing to your Season Pass ranks, and other rewards could be Bright Dust, seasonal currency, or other interesting items. And stopping right there, I love the way this system sounds. Creating a more focused list of goals for players to complete on a week-by-week basis is kind of the way a lot of other MMOs and looter shooter games kind of handle their content right now anyway. You log in every week, and no matter when you jump into that game, you know what you're supposed to do. They tell you where you're supposed to be going to get rewards and EXP and all that kind of stuff. And Bungie laying it out in a more focused format like this, I think is going to be much more guardian friendly, as it were, to people who maybe don't wake up and play Destiny every single day. And I like the UI we've got for it here too. It actually kind of reminds me, if you can remember way back in Destiny 1, the record books that we used to be able to get from like Eververse that contained a bunch of challenges for specific game modes like SRL, and you could just check them off as you completed them. It's sort of like that, except on a seasonal basis, you get new ones every week, and they're going to basically be replacing the weekly bounty grind as your new EXP source. And Bungie goes on to talk about that in just a little bit. Ultimately, I like the way this system sounds. Anyways, they go on to say, in moving away from weekly bounties, which were restricted to broad objectives tied to ritual activities, we have taken more leeway with creating some interesting or more difficult challenges. These may be things you're already doing or things that test your ability. Some examples include defeating primeval envoys in Gambit, defeating enemies in Nightfall ordeals with seasonal weapons, gaining infamy or valor ranks, acquiring the ritual weapon and its cosmetic ornaments, winning rounds in Trials of Osiris, and completing a Grandmaster Nightfall. So those will be some of the tougher, repeatable challenges that will start popping up next season. Not all of the challenges will require that level of accomplishment though, but the harder or longer the challenge is, the more experience it rewards. Challenges that focus on the seasonal activity and ritual mostly need the season pass to complete, but most of the ritual-focused challenges can be completed without the season pass. Overall, roughly 60% of the seasonal challenges do not require the season pass, and I think, again, this is great. Hopefully some of those challenges include completing the raid every single week, so you actually have a reason, experience-wise and Bright Dust-wise, to do that. Anyways, they go on to say that with the changes above, they are removing weekly bounties from the 3 ritual vendors, Zavala, Shax, and the Drifter, as well as Banshee 44 and the seasonal vendors, so weekly bounties are going away. These vendors will still have daily bounties which reward XP, and the 3 ritual vendors will still have repeatable bounties for those of you who want to pursue additional EXP and Bright Dust. Lastly, most of the challenges disappear after the season they were introduced, and anything that isn't claimed will be lost. They're not going to be adding any new challenges after week 10, which should give basically everyone a few weeks to clear up any challenges that they didn't finish. Any challenge that rewards unique or seasonal items, such as currency, lore books, or seasonal weapons, can be completed as long as the seasonal activity is in the game. But EXP awarded for completing the challenge will only be available during the season it was introduced. So there we go. Those are the major changes coming to seasons. We're basically losing weekly bounties as a main EXP source. We're keeping daily and repeatable bounties. Those aren't going anywhere. It's just those weekly bounties are moving away from some of those core vendors. And instead, we're going to have a system of seasonal challenges on a week-by-week basis that will be granting you EXP, specific currencies, and Bright Dust. Speaking of Bright Dust, let's very quickly cover the next section of this TWAB because they talk about some major changes coming to the Bright Dust system that I'm actually pretty excited about. Essentially, some of these seasonal challenges will be awarding you Bright Dust, and a significant amount of Bright Dust at that. Since you no longer have to purchase weekly ritual bounties, each of the Strike, Crucible, and Gambit seasonal challenges will award between 75 and 300 Bright Dust. They're also going to be introducing an end-of-season Bright Dust bonus. If you complete nearly all of the seasonal challenges, you will get an awarding of a single 4,000 Bright Dust pile, which is just bonus incentive for actually completing some of these weekly challenges that we'll be getting in Season 13. Additionally, each ritual vendor challenge, which is going to comprise of completing 8 ritual vendor bounties, is going to award 120 Bright Dust for each character who completes it each week. And because this is prompted by the removal of weekly bounties, the only seasonal challenges that will be awarding Bright Dust are the ones that both Season Pass owners and free players can complete. And then we get a breakdown of exactly how Bright Dust is going to be awarded starting in Season 13. First up are Bright Dust rewards for seasonal challenges that are available to all players. For free seasonal activities, you can get a total of 6,000 Bright Dust for completing those. The seasonal extra for completing almost all of the challenges, of course, is going to be 4,000 Bright Dust for a total of 10,000 Bright Dust available just for completing some of these seasonal challenges. Next up, of course, we have the Bright Dust rewards for completing the Season Pass. For the free path, you can earn up to 7,500 Bright Dust, while if you have the paid version of the Season Pass, you can get an additional 3,000 Bright Dust for a total of 10,500 Bright Dust. Then finally, we have the weekly Ritual Vendor Challenge Bright Dust, which is available for all players. This is for completing the 8 bounties on each of the Ritual Vendors. You can get 120 Bright Dust per Ritual Vendor, per character, per week, totaling out to about 14,040 Bright Dust if you complete all of those weekly challenges over the course of Season 13. Meaning you can earn a total of 34,540 Bright Dust just by completing seasonal challenges and playing the game, basically. And that's not counting completing, say, seasonal event repeatable bounties or any of the ritual repeatable bounties, which also award you Bright Dust. Personally, I think that's more than a fair amount. That's generally more than enough to buy most of all the cool things that are introduced in Eververse over the course of a season. And so finally, Bungie is implementing a system that not only gives you objectives to complete every single week to keep you playing when there's not new content, But this, alongside the returning Umbral Engram system, is going to actually give you a reason to complete those challenges. You're going to be earning Umbral Engrams, you're going to be focusing your rewards, and you're going to be getting a ton of Bright Dust and EXP for getting all of this finished. I say bravo to some of these changes. I'm not exactly happy to see weekly bounties go away, mostly because I don't like to see anything taken out of the game. But if we are going to be evolving the system of challenges in the game moving forward, I think this is a pretty good start. Can't wait to get my hands on it. But anyways, there we go, Guardians. That is the big news that dropped in the TWAB last night about the seasonal challenge system and how EXP is going to be changing moving forward. I thought it was rather interesting because, again, I had that video come out a week or so ago talking about this exact subject, and this is kind of exactly what I wanted to see with the system. I wasn't expecting these exact changes, but I am very excited to give them a shot when Season 13 starts on February 9th. But alright, Guardians, that is it for this one, and those are my thoughts. Be sure to leave me yours down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest stuff we're putting out. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.